boys and girls, students of secondary school, students of Dhamma classes, Buddhist youth members, parents, grandparents, and teachers of Dhamma classes. Good morning. May you all be well, happy, and peaceful. Now, for this presentation, we are going to do a motivation lesson entitled Right Attitude for Life's Altitude. In bahasa Malaysia, sikap betul untuk ketinggian hidup. Now, the texts are in English and Malay, while the narration and explanation will be in English. Now we have the PowerPoint presentation with all the words of motivation and also the pictures concerning the point. Now, as usual, we are going to have a presentation through the PowerPoint. But before that, let me check the setup for the PowerPoint. Oh, it's okay. So now let us launch the PowerPoint. Now this is a very important topic. As I said just now, it's titled Right Attitude for Life's Altitude. In other words, we must have the right views, the right thinking, the right mental setup, or in bahasa Malaysia, we say sikap betul lah, in order to achieve the greatest success in your life, in various fields, in the ordinary world, as well as in the Dhamma practice, which is the most important, right? So this is the important topic. Now you can see the animated image. This person has a good attitude, then he's able to achieve fantastic success in all that he does, right? Now, let me take off my video, right? Stop the video, and then we are going to move on to the slide. Now, let us look at the first slide. This is also a cover slide actually. Right attitude for life's altitude. Sikap betul untuk ketinggian hidup. Now let's go on to the actual. That's the first one. It's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get up. That is a very important point, isn't it? Somebody once said, failure is not failure, but failure is getting up again after you fail. So there cannot be success without failure. Sometimes we fail, isn't it? You know, the inventor of the electric bulb, Thomas Edison. So he was doing his experiments in the lab, and he tried so many times to get the bulb working, like what we have now, neon lights, electric bulbs, and so on. He was the inventor. He failed so many times, you know, hundreds of times. So people ask him, give up, right? You are knocked down already. He said, no, no, no. I will keep on trying. I cannot say that it is a failure because every time the experiment does not work, then it teaches me a lesson. Why the bulb doesn't work? What sort of condition not suitable? At the end, of course, it succeeded and we have the electric bulb. So this is a very important thing. So when sometimes you fail in your exams or in your work or in whatever thing that you do, you must always bear in mind that these things happen to all people. And great people also have encountered their failures, but they do not give up. they go on, right? Get up. Even the Buddha also, right? He failed so many times in some of the methods which were not good, not proper, like practicing asceticism, but he did not give up. He continued the search until finally, under the Bodhi tree, right? After 6 years of struggle, all sorts of methods he had used. So he never gave up. He did not get knocked down and then did not get up. He continued to strive with perseverance, determination, patience, and finally, he obtained full enlightenment, right? The Sama Sambuddho. Now, let us go on to the next one. Now, this says, in the midst of difficulty lies opportunity. And this was stated by one of the greatest scientists that ever lived, Albert Einstein. Now, Albert Einstein, of course, was a fantastic thinker and scientist, physicist, and he had discovered so many things which are proven to be true today. Of course, there were things that did not go right for him in his life certain times. In fact, in school, initially, he did not do well. He did not excel in the early days, but then he did not give up. He faced difficulties, but then he went on. So even though we have difficulties, we must not give up. As just now I say, there is an opportunity. Now I find that sometimes you have certain events happening which are considered terrible, maybe a flood or a fire, right? Or maybe a horrible weather pattern. So you have difficult times. So some people just sit back and then complain and then curse, you see, and condemn. But there are people who say, now, you have difficulties. But during this time, maybe I have an opportunity to earn a good living. Maybe you see, during such times, people need maybe, shortage of food, to be transported to them, because they are stranded in the flood. So maybe I can supply, maybe instant noodles, I go and get and then supply them. So he earns a living. There's an opportunity. I think I posted one story called The Mouse Merchant, how this person could see opportunities in various ways and he became very successful and wealthy. So you must also understand that these difficulties, this trouble, this pain provide a challenge for you to excel. Like in Dhamma practice, you have difficulty. For example, the difficulty or pain, mosquitoes bite your legs get numb when you meditate things like that. But you should consider this opportunity for us to train the mind. And once you overcome this, then you are really great, right? So never just complain that things are difficult and do nothing about it. Well, there's always a lesson we can learn from the unfortunate happenings or the difficulties and pain and sorrow. So that is this very important lesson. Now let us go on to the next one. Now, this person, Walt Emerson, said, what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us, inside us. Now, what already happened in the past, something that is lying behind you already, something that is in the past, you can say, or something that is yet to come, which you don't know for certain, the future is uncertain. So what lies ahead before us, what has gone by, those are not important, they are very tiny matters compared to what is inside you, your mind, your attitude, right? How you have positive thinking and you can meet with success. So some people let the past, some of the failures overwhelm us and say that, some I feel I couldn't, we have success And then, ahead there are so many problems I cannot meet. That is negative thinking. These are tiny matters. You find there have been great people, leading very hard lives. Some of the great people, they were very poor. They live in the villages and then struggle for food. But then they had the determination. They went through education, and they did not let the unfortunate or the very terrible background they had to prevent them from moving ahead and be successful. And they do not worry about, oh no, in the future, what is going to happen? Ahead of us, what will happen? No. Now, we look at our minds. We use the power of our mind at the present moment that we do all the positive things. So what is within you that is important? The mind that you have, the qualities, the good qualities, put them into action. Then you can be successful. So this is a very important point also. Some people, their minds become weak because they dwell and have regrets and remorse of the past. The past they had failed certain times. And then some worry unnecessarily about the future and say that the future will pose a problem they cannot succeed. That is negative thinking. What you do now with what is in your mind, what lies within you, the power will shape the good future that you're going to have. The past is dead and gone, but the future now will depend on what you do with what lies inside your fantastic mind. Put it to good use. That is this very important motivation point. Now let us go on to the next one. Now this says, whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right. That's a very important motivation saying. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. Because you are putting a very important message in your mind. If you already set into your mind that I cannot do it on I cannot, very difficult. There's some of my friends who want to learn meditation, right? So I encourage them. Then they say, I cannot run brother. My mind runs one, I cannot meditate. Now you are thinking this way, you have that attitude that I can't meditate. Then you can't. Because it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. You are suggesting to your mind that you cannot. Whereas on the other hand, a person who thinks more wisely, he says, I think I can, right? And I can. You can do it. So many great people are like that. They have the confidence. They have the conviction they can be successful. And some have become Nobel Prize winners, great scientists, great writers. Say, oh, I see other people writing great novels. I also can do it. So you set the mind on it. Of course, you will go through the education and so on. And then it becomes very successful. So many people in all sorts of fields, in the fields of science and technology, in the field of writing, entertainment. I read about some actors, from young, they say, I think I can act. I'm going to train. He thinks he can, he has a confidence, he succeeds in the end. Because that's his interest, and he has, of course, some talent also. So remember this attitude, very important. Positive thinking. Always thinking that I can do it. I'll make a good job of it. Not negative or pessimistic. Then it's a setback for you. This Henry Ford, I think he's one of the inventors of the cars. Of course, you have the Ford car also. Of course, most of you maybe are familiar with Japanese cars like Mazda, Toyota, or Malaysian cars, Proton, Saga, and so on. But you have also the Ford cars, very established Ford. So this is a very inspiring message. Now let's go on to the next one. Now it's again about the importance of attitude. Your attitude determines your action. Your action determines your accomplishment. Accomplishment means your achievements. And this is by one great motivator, John Maxwell. So, what your view is, what your thinking is, what your mindset is, what your belief is, if all these are correct, positive, and so on, then they will propel you to do the actions correspondingly. You have that good attitude that you'll be very important to go and help the poor people because they are in need of help. And you know in the Dhamma teachings that Dana is important. So you have that good attitude and you have the conviction because you have tried a little bit already. Hey, I help a person, I feel very happy. So this is the attitude that you have, right? A very good attitude of reaching out. And then you go and do it already because you have the attitude, isn't it? You have the view that it's important to help. This is an example. And then, there have been people like this also. They have the good attitude, they have the conviction, the commitment, like Mother Teresa. So imagine set up so many good centers to help the poor, the orphans, the mothers who are in a terrible state, and then also some whose husbands have left them. So she did all this great work. It was fantastic achievement. And she got the Nobel Prize for Peace, So starting with a good view, good attitude, and then the conviction, the belief, all positive things. So remember, this is a very, very good motivation piece by this motivator. Sometimes you understand all this, but the thing is, do you put into action? Now, then you might ask, what sort of course, the slides will show you the different types of good attitudes. But basically, a good attitude will be a good view, a good belief that will help your mind to improve and also help others to be more peaceful, more happy, especially the unfortunate ones. So you have that sort of mindset that you always want to do things that can improve your compassion, your wisdom, your kindness. Then that is a very good attitude that you want to practice in order to develop the mind. That is a good attitude. This is talking in terms of very, very important Dharma teachings. Now, people with bad attitudes cannot actually improve in their mind and mental development. Now, let's say they have that attitude. It's very, very important that I become very, very rich. I must earn a lot of money by hook or by crook. And so today you have so many people getting corrupted because the attitude or the belief or the wrong view is to boost the ego and then to get a lot of money. And then that sort of greed propels them to have the bad attitude, to have the wrong ways. Don't go into that sort of path. Now let us go on to the next one. Now this says health, happiness, and prosperity are primary mental. In Dhammapada, it's stated that mind is the forerunner of all things. Between mind and body, the more important aspect is mind. But do not think that I'm trying to tell you body is not important. We also have to take care of the body, right? Some good nutrition, exercise, rest, and enough sleep, and all those things. But people forget that even more important is the mind. That where there is suffering, you have two types. Bodily suffering because of maybe sicknesses, illnesses, and some accidents that give you pain to the body. Then you have mental suffering. You have mental problems, stress, anxiety, worry, fear, and they can drive the person mad. And then they commit suicide. So you find that mental suffering is even more serious, greater. But people forget that. They take care of the body, okay. But over the limit, to the extent that they spend unnecessary money to beautify the body lah, buy a lot of cosmetics lah, every month go to the hair salon to make the beehive hairstyle lah, or to dye the hair blue and green lah. All these sort of things are just focusing on the body, thinking that this will give them the happiness. No, they give you certain moments of pleasure and so-called happiness, but they don't last. After that, looking for something else already. And then the worst thing is, if they go along stupid ways to beautify the body, like having, facelift lah, liposuction lah, injection to make their skin more smooth lah, it can affect your health, right? There have been cases that die also. So that's silly. So they don't forget that the true happiness, the true peace actually lies in the mind. So if your mind is developed, you have the wisdom arising, then you know how to take care of the body in a proper way, and you keep on developing the mind, then you find the true happiness. And when the mind is very healthy, then also the body can be healthy, because he has a good mind and he knows how to look after himself. He has wisdom. And for a person that has good mind development, he can even be prosperous. He can be successful in his business. Now you look at the happiest man on earth. At one stage, the University of Wisconsin found that this Venerable Dr. Matthew Ricard, they did the research through the scanner, the MRI, they plug things onto the outside of the skull to monitor the brain waves, and they concluded the research shows that he's the happiest man. So how is it? Is it because he's the richest? He's the most well-known in the entertainment or sports field? No. Because of the mind state. The mind state is filled with kindness, compassion, helpfulness, and then also understanding what is the true nature. So these things make him the happiest man on earth, you see. So from here you see, do take care of your mind. It is very, very important. It's the primary thing actually. Now let us look at this saying by, I think this person was a mathematician, Pascal. He says, man's greatness lies in his power of thought. Yes, it goes to this point of the mind. It's the forerunner of things. You see, great people, they have this power to think. Like Einstein, for example, he was a mathematician, a theoretical physicist. So with his good thinking power, he could come up with fantastic discoveries in physics, relativity, right, photoelectric effect, law of this gravity, right, general relativity, and then special relativity. So many things are fantastic. Now they are finding it's true. So why? Because he has fantastic ability to think. Now, to be able to have power of the thought of thinking, we need to train. Just as your body needs training. If you want to develop muscles, you want to be a great sportsman, you want to be an Olympic champion in one of the events, maybe a 400 meters race or 100 meters or swimming, weightlifting, so many events that can get gold. You require training, isn't it? But that training, if it's just physical training, but the mind is not strong enough, cannot cope with the challenges, cannot stand the pressure and stress, then you cannot get the goal. So just not training of the body, but also the mind. The mind must be very, very strong. You see, let us say good leaders, political leaders, you have so many problems of the country. If the leader is not able to think wisely, to think well, to think in the right direction, so that country can become a failure. So it is so important to be able to think. And the training of the thinking, the training of the mind, you can say, as far as Dhamma teachings go, through the practice of bhavana, mental development. We have to listen or read and learn from the true teachings of the Buddha, and then we have to pay close attention. They are great people who can think, they have great concentration powers and great mindfulness. And then we have to reflect, contemplate on that, and then put into practice. All these things will help you to develop the power of the mind. Not only that, it comes also with the wisdom. Now, some people can think very deeply, but in the wrong direction. The people in terrorist movements, they also have the ability to think, but all in a terrible ways. Planning to bomb somebody, to commit a terrorist act. That is in the wrong direction. Here, of course, we emphasize on the right thoughts. Then you become great in various fields, maybe in the world of science and technology, or the world of literature, and so on. So remember that, to train the mind in order to think well. Every Thursday, I do postings on thinking skills. Like, I would present various types of puzzles for you to think fast, to think creatively, logically, divergently. So in this way, you improve. Now, people who are idle, they don't, exercise good thinking or good training of the mind. They just think of the sums, there's a proverb, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. Then if the wrong things will come, then it becomes dangerous. So let us now go on to the next one. Now, he says the greatest discovery of our generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their state of mind. And that is very, very true. It's by a very famous psychologist, William James, that the psychologists have discovered that if you change your mindset, if you change the way you think, your attitude and the view, then actually you can change the lives for the better. Like today, so many people are having problems of the mind. Mental health issues have become a very serious problem. More and more people, including the young ones in their 20s and 30s, having problems of the mind. I think you have read of suicide cases among the young people. These problems of the mind can entail psychiatric disorders, mental illnesses like depression, stress-related illnesses, neurosis, schizophrenia, bipolar. All these things, problems of the mind, will give you terrible suffering. Of course, you see the specialists, the psychiatrists, they will prescribe medication, the drugs to stabilize the brain activities and so on. But it's just one aspect. The other aspect is to take care of the mind. How we can change the way of thinking. And now they are using this method also, like mindfulness, exercises, and then another area we call CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. That means they try to change the way you see things, change your mode of thinking, your wrong views, your wrong opinions, your wrong beliefs. All these things create all those problems, and they come out, conquer over you, and you become mentally sick. Having the right view is very important. In Dhamma teachings, the first factor in the Noble Eightfold Path is samadhi, which is right view, to have the right view of things, So if you don't learn that, you have the wrong view, When you have the wrong view of things, like for example, you're thinking that, well, most important is money, most important is getting the fame, the titles, most important is to become a very great person in politics, and then most important is to put down enemies. All these wrong views to satisfy your ego. This is going to give you the stress and the dukkha. So until and unless you change your attitude, you change your way of thinking and view, you will suffer this. So William James already, through the psychological research, has already found this. So then when the minds are altered for the better, mental illnesses get cured. Then your mind becomes more peaceful, more happy, and you live a more meaningful and fulfilling life. Don't you think it's fantastic? So this will motivate you to have the right thinking, right attitude, so that your lives will change for the better, to have greater peacefulness and happiness. So isn't that very important? So to solve the problems of the mental issues today afflicting so many young ones, depression, one of the most common. And you also heard of so many suicides, K-pop singers lah, Elvis Presley lah, Michael Jackson lah, Leslie Cheung lah, Whitney Houston lah, so many, very successful a lot of money famous so many fans, and yet because of the mind not happy, not peaceful, cannot tahan all those things, in the end commit suicide. So now you see the point of how important it is to take care of the mind. This is also another famous person, motivator, writer. You are today where your thoughts have brought you. You will be tomorrow where your thought takes you. This is very good Dhamma, right? Now you see that we don't deny that we come into the world with our past karma. That's why different people are different. There are some very rich, there are some born very poor, there are some born very, very intelligent and smart, there are some born very dull, there are some born into very fortunate states, there are some born, unfortunate, there are some born very healthy, some not healthy. So the past can influence the present, but we must not say, this is my fate. No, you can change it. The past is dead and gone, so you inherit this, but you can change the present. As in the Dhamma teachings, the Buddha gave this analogy. Whatever bad deeds we have done in the past, represented by a lump of salt. And this lump of salt is in a container, you can say pot or whatever. And then water is added to the pot. And you taste the water, wow, very salty, not pleasant, right? Now, the water represents the good deeds. The salt represents the bad deeds from the past. But if you have the salt put into the river, stir it, and then you taste the water, does it taste salty? There's so much water. So the water represents the good deeds. So even you have inherited from the past bad karma because of ignorance, but now you are able to add more water, isn't it? To do more good deeds, so that you won't feel or experience the dukkha or pain so much already. And you add more and more and more. So what you are doing now, a present moment, will take care of your future. Your future will be good because you are doing so much of good today. That means you are adding so much water. So much so that the bad karma from the past, no chance to manifest out. You, as you say, can't taste the saltishness of so much water you have. So the future is in your hands. Don't have this superstitious belief and so on. Oh, if you go to the temple, you get this holy paper, holy water, everything, then my future will be good. No, it's what you do now, the present. So this is a very, very important Dhamma teaching. And for that, the mind development is important. Of course, he put it this way, he doesn't use karma, right? You are today where your thoughts have brought you. Actually, in Buddhist terms, we say you are today where your karma from the past have brought you. You will be tomorrow where your karma will take you. Takes you there. So the future is in your hands. It's not fated. You can alter it. You can change it. You can ensure. You can create a good future by doing the proper things now. And of course, if you have the good, right, proper attitude, and your thinking and view is correct. So actually it's tied up also with the thinking, attitude, and karma. All these are related because mind is the forerunner of all things. When mind actually is the forerunner of all things, then dependent on that, then you either do good through your speech or your body. So it is connected. So James Allen thinks is actually in line with the Dhamma. So now let us go on to the next one. Events are less important than our responses to them, how we respond. You see, certain people like to blame and criticize, condemn, curse, right? Complain only. Why is this thing happening to me? It's not only happening to you, you see. It's happening maybe to other people also. But people have a better state of mind, good attitude, then they can respond well. Let's say an unfortunate thing happens to you, right? Let's say you lose some money, all right? Maybe somebody withdrew some money using, I don't know, whether, it was correct. There was actual case, one of my Buddhist friends, so he said, he lost a lot of money, 1,000 or 2,000, because somebody don't know how withdrew the money. But somehow that they could, do these sort of things. Maybe got the number or whatever, all the cheating ways. So went to report to the bank manager, but the bank manager checked, he said, no, it's already clear that you have withdrawn it. My friend actually a very good, honest person. He didn't withdraw. So there's an event, unfortunate, isn't it? But then his attitude is good. He said, I've tried my best already. So this is a loss. No, maybe somebody might benefit. This one my loss maybe also could be due to a past karma, whatever it is. So I let go. My money lost 1,000 so I can earn back. So he got a good attitude. So his mind is quite peaceful. Then not long later, some months later, I was a family friend of us. This lady experienced the same thing, She also lost 1,000 or 2,000. Somebody withdrew from a bank account. A lot of cheating ways. So the fellow went to report to the manager. And the manager again checked and said, no, I think it's clear that it's withdrawn under your name. You cannot recover the money. Wow, so her response to this unfortunate event was not correct. Wow, all the negative states of mind. She couldn't sleep. She couldn't let go. She felt very, very angry. All the negatives. And not long later, she died of a heart attack. So you see, it's your response that is important, right? And this, of course, can be helped if you have the good Dhamma. If you don't have, you just react, get angry, get hateful, get jealous, right? Get revengeful. All these things come, you react to certain things. You don't know what to do in the right way. So you see that this is a very important lesson we have to learn. Like say for example, just a very simple event. Like we used to bring students out for outings or trips. I remember, sometimes hot days, like we went to Penang, then after that, after certain places, they will come back to the bus, and there will be some students, the unfortunate event is there, the thing is hot. In the bus also is hot. So this student, right? So everybody is experiencing the heat, but the fella, he is reacting. He say, terrible brother. Oh, switch on the aircon quickly. I said, the aircon is on already. It will take time for the bus to cool down. So he gets very upset and angry and irritated. Another person, right? He understands it, he accepts it, he's patient. So his mind is very cool and peaceful. He waits, he has the patience and tolerance, everything. So you see, what is important is the response to that event. So many people are experiencing the same event. And what is that event? A situation where the environment is hot. But you understand it, you know how to deal with it easily. These are just a few examples I can give you in everyday life. Now, this person says, life is formed from the inside out. What I am inside determines the issues in the battle of life. Right. Now, in life, we are going to have many challenges. There will be ups and downs. There will be pleasure and pain sometimes, right? And then there will be loss and gain. There will be praise and blame. And then you have honor, dishonor, sometimes famous, sometimes nobody knows you already, down already, right? So the issues in life definitely will be there. It's natural, all will have this, you see. So how you are able to handle the issues in your life will depend on the insight, on the state of mind. So the type of life you are going to have, most important thing is in our attitude, in our mindset, our wisdom, our knowledge of things, our ability to see things as they really are. So you are able to live a more peaceful life from the inside. Some people say, oh yeah, my life is so terrible. I have so many issues in life. No. So they go and consult what? Fortune tellers, feng shui, go from one temple to another, go to Bomo and so on. So that they will have less problems, less issues in the battle of life. It's silly. You all will have this, but there are some you find the water is more like, as now we gave the analogy, compared to the salt. So more good deeds are being done from the inside of your heart and mind, and then doing out through your mind, through your speech and body. Then you find the issues in the life, in your battle of life, become less, or you are able to handle better. So what is inside is more important than what is outside. Outside the wrong ways, and someone get cheated by money, as you have read of the scams. Educated ones losing hundreds of thousands through the Macau scams and other cheating things, right? Why? Because the inside is lousy. They don't have the wisdom. They have the defilements, maybe, you see, and they are hoodwinked, they are cheated and bluffed and swindled away, and then after that regret too late. So important to train the inside. When you train the inside is to train the mind. Many cases maybe due to some wrongdoing, they feel guilty already, the law is coming, or maybe due to greed, very often due to greed, and then delusion. All these mental defilements cause them lots of suffering, you get the issues. And what is the issue? Of being scammed, right? So I mean, you cannot say that, okay, I don't want to be scammed, I don't want to be cheated, I don't want to have problems. I go to the temple, it gives me a paper that is holy, I keep in my pocket, then count it, everything. It's not like that. You have to do the good, proper things. So this is also a very important message. Comes back to the point of mind development, and also good morality and wisdom, compassion, all these qualities that are taught by the Buddha. If you develop all these, then you find that less and less problems in life, or you can handle much better, you see. So that is this important point in this presentation. Now, this Abraham Lincoln, I think you know, very famous US president. He abolished slavery in US. He always says, he said, always bear in mind that our own resolution to succeed is more important than any other thing. Now, many people have the wrong idea. They think that if I were to succeed, then my parents must send me to overseas. If I were to succeed, I must have a lot of money. If I were to succeed, I must be able to get into this college. If I were to succeed, my father must give me a certain sum of money to invest. All these, but they don't have the good attitude, the good determination and resolution that they will succeed through good efforts and attitude. That's why you find some parents give their children a lot of money, and then they become spoiled kids. They drive big cars already, right? And then they squander the money when they go overseas. There was this very interesting, maybe a joke, right? So the time, no internet and so on, so they use a telegram to send the message to the father. So this son squandering the money away because the father very rich lah. So you know what he said, shortcut in the telegram, you cannot use many words. He says, no more, no fun, your son. No man, no fun, your son. That means he says, no money, no fun, your son. So the telegram asking the father to send money lah. Basically, it's a short telegram. No man means no money lah. No fun already. And then your son. Oh, got rhyme also. Then the father sent back a telegram also. He says, too bad. How sad. Your dad. Too bad. How sad your dad. The father gave him a good lesson also. Right? The rhyming also. Sad, dad, bad. Right? So this is a joke. But then you see, many people do not have the determination, the resolution, the aspiration to succeed. So you don't have that sort of a good attitude of mind. Then success can be far away when you begin to look for factors which are not the important ones. Blaming this, criticizing this, wanting this, and worst thing, resorting to superstitions. There are many, they go and consult the medium, or then they go and bargain with the gods that if you give my son all the A's or he gets a place in the university, then will come with the curry chicken and all those things to pray. So I'm not making fun of people, but I'm just telling you the Dharma, the right ways, right? So always bear in mind that your attitude, your resolution, your determination, your patience, your perseverance, all these are very important for success. The motivators have said that there's one line of thing going through all great successes. It's not money, it's not fame or what, it's this word, persistence. Persistence, you can say something like perseverance, not giving up, always struggling on. So you meet people who don't give up easily. They struggle on with their energies and effort, everything. They can succeed. That's what Abraham Lincoln said, you see. So, this is a very interesting animated cartoon. May success follow you. You have to climb. You have to put in the effort. Resolve to reach the top. There's a proverb that says, no pain, no gain. He that wants the fruit must climb the tree. So this image is a meaningful one. Now we go on to this. What is a happy person? A happy person is not a person in a certain set of circumstances, but rather a person with a certain set of attitudes. Come back to this point. You start to blame the circumstances. My parents are not rich as my neighbor, and then how come we don't have these vehicles and this and that. Always blaming this, That's why he says they're not happy, but they don't realize the happiness is in the mind and not just on your circumstances. It's just the circumstances of money, wealth, possessions, fame. Then why is it that so many of the famous people commit suicide? As I say just now, the K-pop singers and the Hollywood stars or the Hong Kong stars, so many committed suicide. You don't hear of maybe maybe a few cases. Ajahn Brahm, I remember one of his talks said, the research shows that in very maybe rich countries, affluent countries, the suicide rate is higher than a poor country like Bangladesh or maybe. Why? So that goes to show it's in your mind. Like for example, right? Have you heard of a monk committing suicide? right? Have you heard of a monk having depression, psychological problem, not happy or contented? I have not heard, isn't it? So why? Because they have a certain set of mind. And that set of mind comes through mind development. And in that set of mind, they have the right attitude and view, the right intentions, the right thinking. All these things contribute to the state of happiness, and that is a very, very important state of mind of happiness. Not just I get a car, I'll be happy. If I get a beautiful girlfriend or handsome boyfriend, I'll be happy. All these are just passing, and after that, you want more and more, no end. But if you develop your mind with the correct set of views, attitudes, thinking, thoughts, and so on, then you will be on the path. You are actually getting the true happiness. And this you have to test out for yourself. As I told you, the happiest person is not the richest billionaire. What? Yeah, research showed that at that period, he was this venerable Dr. Matthew Ricard. Right? The research showed that he was the happiest person on earth, and how they did it by a scientific experiment or probing what happens in the brain wave. So this already shows very concretely, it's not so much your circumstances, but your mind, right? So it comes back to mind being the forerunner of all things. You see? So all these animated one to show these were good mindsets, very happy lah, these happy cartoons. So now we come to this. Your problem is not your problem. Your attitude, how you handle your problem is your problem. So you say, yeah, I have a problem, right? How come I'm so unlucky I have problems? Other people are they're so lucky they don't have problems. Right? So as long as we are born in samsara, there will be problems. The first noble truth says that dukkha is a fact of life. Right? You can't run away from it. There will be times where you have blame, the times that you have lost, the times you have pain, the times where nobody would know you, will heal you already. These are facts of life. So this is natural. So why are we complaining? I have this problem, I have that problem. So more important is what you do about that problem, how you handle your problem. You understand the problem. What's the cause of your problem, right? And then after that, you take wise steps in order to lessen the problem or to solve the problem. If the problem can be solved, then why are you complaining? You take the step actively and solve the problem. If the problem will be there, like certain types of weather and so on, you can't help it, then why you worry? You worry also, you cannot solve the problem. Other people, they have more wisdom, they accept it more peaceful. So that is a very important lesson. So this is your problem. It's not your problem. It's your attitude that is the problem. How you embrace that problem. And to embrace it well, again comes to this. You must have good Dhamma learning, good understanding of the true Dhamma, and then to think, reflect about it, if possible, discuss with your spiritual friends, and then also to practice what is being taught in the Dhamma. Then you can see that problems will be there, but you are not much disturbed by them. You can handle them more peacefully. And the good thing is, if you have more water in the jar, that the problems seem to get less and less already. Of course, sometimes you still have the body pains and sicknesses, but your mind problem becomes less and less. And a day comes, wow, you have become an arahant already. The mind, no more dukkha already. Is that wonderful? This very cute puppy, positive mental attitude. All right, now let's look at the next one. This is again from Abraham Lincoln, the very famous president. And what did he say? He said, I do the very best I know how, the very best I can. And I mean to keep on doing so until the end. That's very good resolution, a very good attitude. He was regarded as one of the great American presidents. I do the very best I know how. That means through his education, his experiences in life and so on. So he will try his best using the education that he got or he received. And then I'll do my very best, being able to sacrifice, right? Able to work hard. And then he said that he will keep doing this until the end, until he passes away. So that is a fantastic attitude, isn't it? So he lives a life that is worthy, a meaningful life, and people will remember him. And in history also, you know, Abraham Lincoln, a very famous person, right? So some people, you know, they have the wrong attitude. They say, oh yeah, how is it I don't get the best? I want to be number one and so on. I always tell these students, right? It's not important that you are the best. It's not important that you get the best. What really matters is you do your best, you do your level best, then you will accepting very peaceful, and you won't be filled with all the dukkha. Yeah, how come I never get number one? How come I didn't get the best? Other players get the first prize in the contest. I get second prize. Never end, isn't it? And then if you are a perfectionist, then you may even sink into some mental illnesses like depression. So from here, you see that it is very important that we have the right attitude. And right attitude is tied up with the right view of the Noble Eightfold Path. And then also tie up with the right thought. In fact, once we have right attitude and right view, then naturally we will have the right thought already. All wholesome, good thoughts, because your view is correct, your attitude is correct, so you will not cause harm to other people. You won't have cruel thoughts of torturing people. You will have thoughts of metta, loving kindness, and you are able to let go. Don't attach to the things. Don't be so greedy, covetous. Wow, the thoughts are very good thoughts. And then you have the other steps of the Noble Eightfold Path coming in, which are not dealing today. But finally, you will attain the true peace and happiness. So we have come to all these various points on the topic of right attitude for life's altitude. Life's altitude, the highest point in one's life is to have the true peace and happiness. All other things, you say, oh, life's altitude, I become a millionaire. I become the most famous person. Well, that's not correct, isn't it? You can die anytime. So it's to have the ultimate or the true peace and happiness, not only in this life, but in more lives to come, future lives. Right? So now let us look at the last slide now. So we come to the right, to the last slide. And again is to sum up the topic. And that important aspiration or that important message is this, that you have to get into your mind. Right attitude and right view is the way to the perfect day. And the perfect day, the ultimate perfect day is Nibbana. The end of all suffering, the end of all dukkha, no more rebirth. And the very essential thing you must have for the start is the right view, and it's also linked up with the right attitude. So from here you see in Bahasa Malaysia, I use the Google Translate. Sikap betul dan pandangan betul ialah jalan menuju hari yang sempurna. Hari yang sempurna is the perfect day, the endless perfect day, unconditioned day, unconditioned state of Nibbana. And so we have to have understanding. If we don't have understanding and wisdom, you say, oh, we must have right attitude, but you don't know what is the right attitude. And in the presentation, I pointed out some of the things, right? And then what is right view? Well, you don't understand. So we need to understand. Right view is to understand the Four Noble Truths, to understand the law of karma, right? To understand that the cause of all our suffering, everything is this thing of craving, always wanting things and attaching things. That is the Dharma aspect which is dealt with the most serious Dharma talk. But anyway, I hope I have conveyed to you important points regard to right view in order to have the life's altitude. Right. So before we say sadhu 3 times, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the students, particularly the secondary and tertiary students and the Buddhist youths, or all youths, because this will be a bit more difficult for primary school students. So we will be dedicated to the secondary and tertiary students, Buddhist youths, and also to the parents, grandparents who are guiding the young ones, right, on the right path, and of course to teachers of moral education and also Dhamma classes. So I would like to express my thanks and appreciation to all of you for taking the time and energy also expended in viewing this presentation, right? With patience, mindfulness, and good concentration. So let us put our palms together and then say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May all be well, happy, peaceful, and may the Dhamma be with you always. May you grow in the Dhamma. Take care.